TexAgs Rewind brought to you by Specs. What was your favorite part, Sydney? This is my friend Sydney.
Hello. My favorite part was Billy coming in.
Okay.
What was your favorite part?
My favorite was Luke Evangelist. We have Luke Evangelist, Dave Wilson, the Baseball Bunch, and of course, Billy Liucci. So check it.
Proof of product in the SEC. He's able to sell his system, and it's a system that is attractive to high-level players who want to play in the NBA because buckyball is more of what the NBA looks like now, where it's run and gun, shooting a ton of threes, playing fast. It's a system that players want to play in, and Mackenzie Mbako, who has an NBA future, sees this as a landing spot where he can develop more as a player, coming from an Indiana team where Mike Woodson essentially, he knew he was gone halfway through that season. He wasn't really getting the coaching and development that he needed. So come play in a system where it looks much more like what you're going to see if he has dreams and aspirations like everyone else does to play in the NBA, except he's going to actually be getting legitimate NBA draft buzz, whether he wants to go out his junior year or senior year if things go well in Bucky's system. And that's a selling point, which for better or for worse, it wasn't a selling point for the last 6 years of come play in this system because this system is more NBA-like.
So to summarize, you're excited because of Bucky and Buckle.
Pardon?
He's excited because of Bucky and Bucko.
Mbako.
Right?
Yes. That was a good
But I would
matchup.
say do not use the word buzz around very much anymore. I want to just...
We've turned the page.
I just want
we
to
have turned
remove
the
that
page.
one from our...
It was more of a comparison.
I know you said
of,
it's a buzz, a buzz. You were using it in that,
Right.
but I just want to scrape that one from the whole vocabulary.
You're right. Yeah, we can.
So,
But it's a key point. It's a key selling point of.
Yes,
It's
yes.
another reason why people would want to come to A&M.
Because we want you to put a basketball in the basket.
Yes, and if you miss, sure, you can go after it and get it, but let's maybe
would
not
prefer
predicate
not
the whole
missing.
system on that. Yeah.
well, Josh Holloway, I think it's important to get a guy that knows the system and has played in that system at a high level. Like, what made you want to write this story the way you wrote it, too?
I don't know. I think, we're lucky in that we do this. And over the years, you meet people that tell you stories here and there, and they kind of pile up. Sorry. And I just kept thinking, even for a guy that grew up in Texas, spent 2 years at A&M, during RC's tenure, I thought I didn't know any of these things, and I thought I knew a lot about him. And so, sorry, dudes. So the more I sort of started working on it, the more I realized there's a real story here about a guy who really had a bigger impression than I would have even imagined, going back to 1972, and even in the very beginning in recruiting, how much of a difference that made for A&M going forward. And I just thought, our business, and OB can talk about this from the newspaper business. It's an old school business where we usually wait until people die to tell good stories about them, and then we write a nice obituary. And I thought, why do we do that? This is a guy that just had cancer. Everyone loves him. Why not give the guy his flowers while he's still here? And it's obviously a matter of resources and time and priorities, but given the off season, I was glad that we were able to do it.
Through your work on the story, did you get the sense that RC was that maybe people locally didn't realize just how nationally respected and admired RC is and was?
Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't, he's very modest. And, every time I would say, I really want to do this story, he would say the same thing, exact same thing. Oh, Dave, I'm just an old man that's had my time. I'm trying to fade to the background. And I'd say, well, I don't, I finally texted him in like February and I said, I'm doing this story. You're not telling me no, I don't care what you say. And so he said, all right. And so we caught up on a lot of stuff. But, my point was that he never would say, they didn't know this. He would mention it. I would say, how did you figure out how to stop Andre Ware? And he'd say, oh, well, I called Bill Walsh and I asked him, what would give you the most trouble if you were facing our defense. And he said, well, if you brought everybody on every play out, I'll throw it over your head. And if you sit back, I'll pick you apart. But if you show blitz on every play and then either bring everybody or drop everybody, it's gonna give me, it's gonna play havoc with us. And so he said, so that's what I did. I just put John Roper in the nose tackle or put a nose tackle out there, put linebackers all over the field and DBs all over the field, and that's what we did.
Length of the lineup. I think it's pretty obvious that they got to the point where the lineup got some more length. And that was, what you see from this lineup now is that Ben Royo took that second base spot, solidified the defense. That made the infield as close a facsimile to what you thought you were going to have at the beginning of the season as you could have. And then Bear Harrison hit like the guy Brauninger and I had seen. I mean, that was as surprising as anything, is that here's a guy that, has always raked.
Yeah.
Was a conference freshman of the year last year, and not even when he got to SEC play did he have an adjustment. The adjustment was before that. And when he came back to his level, this lineup lengthened out in a tremendous way. And then, Caden Sorrell is, a guy that quickly got back to the level of offensive production that makes him a high first-round draft pick potential.
And they won last night without Bear Harrison producing.
But that's why your line
because
now
the
also,
bottom of the lineup's producing. Blake Binderup had a base hit in the second inning. He drove in a run two innings later. Yamal George, 2 base hits yesterday. Like, they're producing 1 through 9, and they're still not fully healthy yet. And Hayden Schott, who's producing off the bench, isn't in the lineup and didn't get an at-bat last night. Like, they've got options. The depth that we thought they would have at the beginning of the season is starting to shine through, and that's awesome. You're finally starting to see what this team can do offensively night in and night out.
It's impressive to me that you did a couple of things that Arkansas hasn't shown a propensity to do or allow this year. Arkansas, that was the first time they've scored under 6 runs the entire season.
Really?
Or at least maybe in SEC play. You have to go back and look. I thought somebody said the entire schedule. But another thing is you scored 7. And a lot of that, I think that the 2 errors that they had.
They won on opening night 3-2 in 10 innings.
Yeah, it's SEC play, but they had not been under 6 in SEC play.
Wow.
Vandy, a 6-4 extra inning win.
Heard other pitchers who have faced Arkansas who was really good, right?
Yeah.
But then the offense does pick them up. And that's the difference at this point is like if something isn't right, the other part will pick up the slack.
Yeah, it's just like Weston Moss. His last few relief appearances have been legendary. Guys are stepping up. Last time we saw Rudis, he bailed them out against South Carolina. He had struggled at times this year. So, again, it just goes back. You don't have to crap on any level of, positivity, hope, or perspective. I didn't think they were going to do this. I didn't think they were going to pull out of it. I'll be honest. And I really believe in those guys. Mm-hmm. But it had gotten to a point that after getting no hit and run ruled, I was hopeful. And I still wasn't ready to just burn it because it's baseball.
We were here on that Friday night doing the Bucky Luchador, and we were like, do you remember how the feeling was after that? And, and now 2 Fridays later, how different the vibe is.
And look, again, I'm not going to go through every one of them again, but LSU was 3-13 in the SEC last year, and they were a game away from Omaha. Ole Miss, that story is well told. And then the ups and downs of Mississippi State, Ole Miss not making the tournament the next year, LSU barely making it, having to rally from 3-13. Mm-hmm. This league will eat you up, man, unless you're playing Texas's schedule.
Again.
Sorry, but Sankey's doing them so many favors. It's crazy. Did you see that one? Just the stats of who A&M's playing in the top half of the SEC.
And
And A&M's playing 7 of, I think, 7 of the top 8, 7 of the top 9 or something in the conference, and 4 on the road, 3 at home. Texas is playing 3, 2 at home, or 4, 3 at home, 1 on the road. It's wild.
We're talking football here? Because that's kind of how football felt.
It's wild. But at the end of the day, it's also baseball.
Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you next week. Bye.